Hey guys, welcome to my channel. In this video, we're going to be writing linear equations in different forms. And in order to do that, we're going to go over 3 examples. But before we dive into the examples, let's do a quick reminder about the 3 possible equations that we can use to write linear equations. The first one is slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. And slope-intercept form is very useful when you're given the slope and the y-intercept. It's actually pretty easy to write down. So use it when slope and y-intercepts. Handwriting is terrible, but that's fine. Slope and y-intercept are easy to find. Number 2, we have point slope form, which is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Well, make sure that you use point slope form when you have been given points. Use it when points are given. An example of that can be when you have a graph and you don't have pretty points. Another example could be when you are given a table and the table does not include the y-intercept. That could be a possible example. And the last one, which is the least that we use, at least in Algebra 1, is standard form, which is a times x plus by equals to c. And we're going to use this equation usually, not all the time, but we're going to use it when it comes from a word problem. When it comes from a word problem. So let's dive into the examples. Let's dive into the examples right now. Example number 1. This is a somewhat difficult if you don't understand what this means. So let's read it. It says, write an equation in slope-intercept form that has an x-intercept of 25 and has a slope of -1/5. Well, this is a description of a point. It's not very clear, but we do know that the x-intercept of a line is written in the form x comma 0. Well, in this case, the x-intercept 25 can be written as a point 25 comma 0. So because I am given a point and the slope, the easiest thing to do, even though I need to write it in slope-intercept form, the easiest formula to use is point slope form, because all I have to do is plug in stuff. So slope-intercept form, point slope form is the second equation, and all I'm going to do is plug in the values that I have. Remember that I need a point, an x1, a y1, and I need the slope. The slope is given, and so is the point. So let's do that. Y minus the value of y1 will be 0. This is y1, this is x1. So y minus 0 is equal to -1/5 times x minus the value of x1 is 25. So I'm going to write down 25. Well, we're not finished yet because we need to write this in slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form is in the form of y equals mx plus b. So think about what you can do to write this in slope-intercept form. Well, if you said that you need to distribute, and then that's pretty much all you have to do, because y minus 0 is just y. You are exactly correct. So -1/5 times x is -1/5x. -1/5 times -25. Hopefully by this time you know how to multiply a fraction with a whole number. So -1/5 times -25 will be +5. And that is the first equation. Or that's the first example. Example number 2. Now we're given a graph. The cool thing about this graph is that it has pretty points. A pretty point is where the line goes through the edge of a square. So I'm going to pick 2 pretty points. The reason I'm doing that is because I'm going to find the slope. So I'm picking 2 pretty points. Those are it. You could have picked this one and this one here too. That's also a pretty point. Now, before I even write the slope, there's something that I like to do all the time, and that is to identify whether my slope is positive or negative. Think about what type of slope do you have here. Well, if you said negative, you're exactly right. So I'm going to write down negative somewhere in the bottom. That way, when I do rise over run, I will not forget that my slope is negative. So I do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Let me write that down. What I did here was I found the slope by using rise over run. Well, in this case, it's negative 3 over 2. So negative 3 over 2 is my slope, and the y-intercept is where the graph crosses the y-axis. This is your y-intercept. That is your y-intercept. So your equation is y is equal to negative 3 over 2 x plus 4. And we're done. I'll make another video to do the third example. Please watch that one as well. We're going to dive into a word problem in the next video.